I am the contrarian, and this is my world.
The rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Well, I'm not saying it. Mark Twain said that a few years back, and now another Mark may well be saying that about Facebook and the life of his company. With me, Prasanto Roy, and I'm going to leave the floor to you. You're the one who doesn't believe in what we believe. So let's find out from you in about a minute or so. How do you believe that Facebook will die out very soon?
Well, I was completely with you till about maybe a year or two ago. And I would speak to, school groups and college groups about how great social media is. And I was doing this almost a year ago. I was telling them that, we do this on social book. We've got this Facebook group with 10,000 people on it. And somebody said, well, you use Facebook? Like, how old are you? And then I figured that a lot of these kids were not going on Facebook, or they were going away because they had all these friends and family, especially family and grandfamily, and their teachers, and everybody sending them friend requests. That's the first thing all these surveys have found. It's not a cool place to be anymore. Okay. The second is, of course, this is a great place for people to troll social media, your social stats, your life, so that they can pick out stuff from there and do stuff with it. Interesting things like guess your passwords, guess your whole lot of other things about you.
Okay, so not cool. Security is going to be the next big problem, according to you. Anything else?
I think that some of the primary drivers of Facebook, which is still pushing it on the upward curve in India, by the way. So in India, it's growing. So despite what the Princeton study said, or maybe tracking it, we are finding that it's on the growth path. But things like discovering old friends, those were great drivers, but it's saturating.
Before we get into that, with the very knowledgeable audience that we have, I'm going to throw out the first question to get things started. Right now, as you believe, and with what Mr. Roy has said, how many of you believe Facebook will eventually die? White for yes, it will die. Blue if you don't think it'll die. Okay, so at this present moment, most people seem to think it's not going to die out. So you have an uphill struggle out here. I'm just going to make sure I cement that even more. The first part, which is it's not cool anymore, right? Let's go with the fact that would Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, with the resources that they have available to them and all the studies, do you think they live in isolation and are not aware of these demographics, of the fact that it's not taken to be cool anymore? And will they just sit by and let a billion-dollar empire crumble on its own? Do you believe that? Because 2 or 3 things about Mark Zuckerberg that some people seem to claim, who really knows him, is he is one of the most paranoid people in the world. Therefore, only the paranoid survive. Number 2, he also seems to have a very long-term vision, because if you've come up with Facebook, you can't really be a fool. What do you think? Will they just sit by, know that this is what could take them down, and not do anything about it?
The problem with creating something and then living with it for years and then at some point decades is that you begin to internalize it and defend it and believe that what you've created will live forever. And also, Mark and everybody around him, they're growing older. So the insights that they had as youth, they may be going a little bit away from them. So, for example,
if you look at... hire better people? Can't they have the right studies? They have the resources, they have the money, they know where they are, it's still an upward growth. For somebody to write off a company this powerful...
Right. But what happens is when you, who do you hire? You hire consultants. Consultants are usually people a little older. Now, they're finding, yes, some of the kids are saying, okay, we don't want stuff which is going to cement all our, likes and dislikes into posterity and our baby pictures and all that for people to see. We like Snapchat, where I send you a message and it's going to vanish and dissolve in a few seconds.
Don't you believe, okay, Snapchat's a very interesting example you've given. I'm going to take that forward, right? So don't you think that the true cool part about Snapchat is also going to be the reason that the demise is almost pretty much written right now? It's cool right now to send a message and see it dissolve, right? It leaves no legacy, no history. Usually people that have something to hide would use it in the long run. Right now it's just cool. I send it, it's gone, and I'm okay. But if you really look at it, a lot of people love Facebook for the fact that there's a legacy and history of how they evolved over the years. There's nothing left in Snapchat.
So here's the thing. First of all, you begin to learn more and more as you get into social media that there's no such thing as a person with nothing to hide.
Right.
And you get into anyone's Facebook account and the kind of stuff that you can pick up. So you'll find gradually people tire of this thing of leaving your footprints in the sands of time for posterity, all footprints. Right now, people are very excited. Hey, you can make a movie out of it, and millions and millions of Facebook movies are being made, and people are sick of it.
I understand that, and that very fact is that they're still trying. They're not giving up.
If they adapt, it's going to be something which is a completely different animal.
But what's wrong with evolving? The question today isn't really about Facebook will survive as it is, but will Facebook, the entity, the legacy, the company, and what we call one of the greatest services in the world, will that survive? If evolution was bad, then a mobile phone would still be the Motorola Dynatac 8000X, which is more a weapon than a phone, right? Now, if we didn't have evolution and said, no, mobiles will only survive if they were a Motorola Dynatac, then we would all be in a lot of trouble. Why can't Facebook evolve? Of course it can, it will. People say, irrespective of what they do, it has to die. I find that to be the strangest argument in the world, because some of the big ones, and the big argument given is MySpace couldn't evolve, so why will Facebook? What do you think?
So the question is how fast and in what form can they evolve? And I believe they might be heading into the direction that, the Princeton study, for example, spoke about disease outbreaks. Now, there are some diseases which evolved, some pathogens which evolved and some didn't. In the case of Facebook, it's been addictive. It's like a drug. Its growth is very, very rapid. And I suspect the crash can be that rapid unless it completely changes.
The next big one that may shock a lot of people and throw them off Facebook is going to be security.
First of all, just about your complete social life is out there on Facebook. So if anybody wants to track you, if people want to figure out what you do, where you go, when you go, there's so many ways to do it on Facebook, including just take the pictures and look at the metadata around the pictures. Where was the picture posted? What is the location tag on the picture? When was it posted? It was posted at this location, whatever. Okay, that's one. That's the minor stuff, okay? People use social engineering. People, can steal a Facebook account and start posting up stuff on your behalf. That's all minor. The real cool stuff will start happening, and I say cool deliberately, because there are hackers really working on this stuff.
If it wasn't Facebook, hackers will find another way. I mean, end of the day, that's what they do. So if that is the reason why people will run away from Facebook, it seems like the kind of situation which I don't think will happen unless you actually have that headline which says all Facebook passwords hacked and people are actually in. Let's go down to a few of the other important ones you said, which really becomes, I think, the crux of what they say will take you. People talk about things like Facebook is too complicated. Privacy issues are a big problem. You actually spoke about all of those. Are those things that can take down a company like Facebook?
They can if they don't recognize this and evolve fast enough in a direction which is often contrary to what they're doing and believe. And I think that is the fundamental issue.
You also spoke about the fact that, how many new people can you discover? For a person who's come onto Facebook for the first time, the first 6 months are like magic. Discovering people that you lost touch with for the first 6 months, every day, when you wake up in the morning, it's almost a miracle, right?
Right. And
so
that's
that
why
happens for all the new people too.
Right. And we are on the upswing of that curve in India because there are lots of people still to come on Facebook.
Right.
Lots of people who their first internet experience is Facebook.
Right.
So I think we are going to be up on that curve for a while. But
So
ultimately, the bell curve goes down.
Let's come down to what I believe, and from my own side I'm saying it, is the greatest problem in Facebook right now. So Facebook went public, IPO, amazing start to that entire thing, dipped massively. But today it's not that typical romanticized company, started in a garage, stole ideas from some friends or whatever, whichever is the real truth of it, and then went on this amazing journey, right? It's no longer about a private company and one individual. You have board of directors, they want to see a profit every day, they want to see a balance sheet that is actually making money, and the money can only be made from you people. Facebook cannot make money on its own. It is only through the user and the data and the amount of times they can get you to log in every single day. Is that, according to you, the biggest reason why people will walk off now?
I think that commercial activity is already irritating people, but it's going to add on to all the other stuff that people are experiencing. And now here's the thing. There's going to be this intersection of conflicting things. On Facebook's side, the need to generate revenue and profit. On the other hand, you asked earlier too, Why won't Facebook evolve and adapt? What are the chances that a startup which recognizes the problem with Facebook will do this faster?
If Facebook has, why haven't others? There have been so many, the Tickles of this world and all the others. I mean, there were companies that were doing completely different things, and they all wanted to do social networking as part of it. Why has nobody else been able to do a Facebook?
Well, Facebook itself, there's a Chinese version of Facebook, etc., but it's all been inspired by Facebook. Now, you can ask that about any social media platform or any technology. You can ask that about Apple, nobody's been able to be Apple. You can ask that about Twitter, nobody's been able to be Twitter. I don't think that's really the question. The question is, if Facebook has very fundamental issues with its core philosophy, then what are the chances that it will itself disrupt that core philosophy versus somebody else will come and say, hey, Facebook groups has this huge issue that you're not able to isolate and identify people by region in a very easy way, so that an alumni group can say, okay, how many people from Delhi, how many people from Bombay, so let's get in there. And I think that is something I'm going to see often.
Oh, come on. Okay, no, wait. Okay, let's get this right.
That, for example, would be things like charging an alumni group or something, some very micro amounts of money, and figuring out the technology for micropayments.
I think that would be the death knell. At one time, the scariest headline of all was, and it's a rumor that comes up every 6 months, that you'll be charged to use Facebook. And every time that rumor comes up, people are not even willing to pay 1 rupee per month. I mean, these are surveys that have been done in India, and just the idea that you have to go through the hassle of making a payment is where I think it all collapses.
Right, which is why it's easier for another company to do and say that, hey, here's a service which does this particular thing really well, like give you groups, and all you have to do is pay 100 rupees for a group.
I'm going to throw out one number at you, and that is the number of people on Facebook. Just that number defeats all other things. Any argument that is thrown out, when you have multiple countries that don't have populations that Facebook has, it's a very powerful place to be in, right?
It's the same thing people said about the plague. The sheer number of people who are getting it, I don't think we're going to be able to crack this ever.
Okay, you're back to your, your plague and your diseases and everything else. But at the moment, I will leave you with the last part of the show, which is a question back to audience. How many of you believe Facebook will eventually die? So that's a no. So you just added about 10% more into that. That's a 90%.
So my prediction worked well.
All right then. Thank you very much. And hopefully I'll see you on Facebook. Thank you.
I am the contrarian. This is my world.